Good afternoon, sports fans. This is Kerry Lee from Silly Valley Sound, and I thought I'd share with you a little project that I just completed concerning an Epiphone inspired by Gibson J45. Now, I've been wanting to own a J45 for a long time, but could never quite justify the price tag on that beast. It's a nice guitar. I like the sound. But mahogany guitars are really not my favorite. I have quite a few Guilds and a very nice D35 Martin that I'm very happy with them and the way they sound. But the J45 is a unique sound, something a little bit different, a little bit shorter scale. The neck feels nice in my hands, and I like the sound overall, and it's nice to have different acoustic guitar sounds to complement recordings that you're making and also to use in live performance. So I went online and took a look at a comparison video on the Epiphone Inspired by Gibson J45 and with an original Gibson J45 and found that there's you can definitely hear differences, but not super lot of difference. I mean, it's a subjective thing depending on your ears and what you're looking for and how you hear it. So I took another look at a video that was put out by Driftwood Guitars, and if you don't know Driftwood Guitars, they're a good source for information on guitars. In general, they build very, very high-end guitars in their shop, but they also do deep dives on a lot of commercial models and in a variety of scales. And then when I do deep dives, they cut the guitars in half so that they can get good access to the inside, and they just go through it with a fine-tooth comb. They're fine luthiers with a lot of experience, and I respect their work and their opinions. The deep dive they did on the J45, I was kind of impressed. I was impressed with the Epiphone J45. I was impressed with the construction, and the quality was above average, and the sound was again pretty good, as I found out in the first video I looked at. And I've linked those two videos below so you can take a look at them yourself and see what you think. But a couple of things came up in the Driftwood video, and I noticed it in the first video I looked at too as well. And the first thing that I really didn't like about the Epiphone J45 was the Fishman electronics that they put in it. It's the bottom end of their scale, and it's not, my opinion, does not sound very good at all. And since I plan on using this guitar also to play out when I gig, it just wouldn't cut it. Now, I've used a couple of different systems in my other acoustic guitars. I started out using the Anthem, LR Baggs Anthem systems, which work really well, and they're great sounding. But as years have moved on, I've moved to these K&K mini pickups, and I found that the sound of these is comparable to the Anthems, but they don't require a battery. They're pretty easy to install. The only downside that I found to them, which isn't a downside in my mind in the long run, is to get the full audio quality out of them, you really need to run an instrument pickup before you run them into your sound system. So I have two that I use, and they work out really well. I use this Red Eye, and this works out, has a couple of good things, pros about it. It's got a boost that you can set at. So if I'm playing live and I'm doing a solo, I can set this boost here and then punch this button, and I have boost for just the solo, and click it again and get back to the normal volume. It has an adjustable tone control that can be helpful at times. I just leave it neutral most of the time. It also It has really good quality sound. I like the sound of it. I find it a little bit colored in a good way as opposed to a pure natural sound. So if I'm looking for a pure natural sound, I use this Neve instrument preamp. And the Neve, it doesn't have as many features on it. I usually don't use it if I'm playing with a band and I need to pump up for a solo. But if I'm just playing acoustic set, playing solo, or with maybe one or two musicians, this works, I think, just a little. It's a little bit truer audio. So, looking at that stuff, another thing that came up in the reviews, especially in the Driftwood review, was the pickguard on the Epiphone Inspired by Gibson J45 is massive. I mean, its size, it's copying the Gibson J45 pickguard in size, which is rather large too. But the one that they put on the Epiphone is like 3 times as thick as it needs to be. And it was apparent to me that that's really going to restrict, the movement of the top. It's got to be dampening the top quite a bit and masking a good portion of the sound. So that was something I was going to have to address. Now, another thing that I like to do with my acoustic guitars, and this is another trick that I picked up from Driftwood Guitars, and I'll link the video that they have on this down below, is slotting the bridge and putting in solid ebony bridge pins. And this is something that I've done on all my acoustic guitars, and it definitely brings out the sound of your guitar. It just allows freer movement of the top, and it increases the clarity and the volume of the guitar as a whole. So my plan was do the bridge fin modification on the bridge, remove the pick guard, and take out the Fishman electronics and install the K&K minis in it. And I think that would bridge the gap quite a bit between sound-wise is what you get in the Epiphone Inspired by Gibson J45, and if you go out and purchase a Gibson J45. So that's the plan. That's what I intend to do. And as I record this, I want to give you a little bit idea of the signal chain that I'm using to record the samples that you're going to hear. Is I'm going to record through a large condenser Mojave Audio 200 large condenser microphone into a Rupert Neve design Portico 517 studio preamp, and then that will run straight into Pro Tools. I'm not going to use any effects. I'm not going to use any reverb. I'm just going to leave that raw like that. I thought about adding a little reverb to Just for the Room, but for these purposes, there's not going to be anything added to it. When I get to the electronics, the first electronic run will be the Fishman to the new Neve 517 Portico to Pro Tools. Then we'll do the Red Eye Instrument DI to the Neve 517 Portico to Pro Tools. And then we'll do I might have messed up. We'll do the Red Eye Instrument DI to the Neve first. Then we'll do the Neve Instrument DI to the Neve 517 Portico to Pro Tools. And to really get the most benefit out of this video and hear what's going on, you'll need to listen through studio monitors if you had them, or some high quality speakers, or a good set of high quality headphones. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's get to the sound samples and see what's up. Here's what I heard. Don't be shy to leave a comment below and let me know or don't know if you hear it or see it the same way. The slotted bridge and the ebony bridge pins, what I heard was more volume, more attack, more definition, and more sustain. With the pick guard removal, what I heard was a little bit more depth and a little bit more balance in the sound. With the new 8020 bronze D'Addario 12s that I put on there, those were a little too bright for me on the chords. They did sound nice on the fingerstyle section. I think regular Foster's bronze strings might work better on this guitar. Overall, I've found different guitars respond better to different types of strings, so I'll experiment more with that in the future. On the electronics, I like the K&K Mini through the Neve preamp the best, instrument preamp. That's always been the most natural sound to me that I've found so far. And so overall, I was really pleased with this project. Pretty much laid out the way I thought it would. These modifications for me were definitely well worth the effort. The solid ebony bridge pins, I found those for about $23 on Amazon. The K&K Mini pickups I picked up on Reverb for $108. They're also, you can find a lot for $120, but I was able to find one set for $108. The Epiphone Inspired by Gibson J 45, I bought that on Reverb. They typically sell for $749. I was able to negotiate a price of $649 on this. So overall, I don't have a lot of money in this guitar or a lot of time and effort in setting it up, but for where it's at, I'm really happy with it, and I think much happier than if I'd spent $3,000 on a Gibson J 45. This guitar will get plenty of use on gigs and in the studio, so let me know what you think of the changes. Could you hear them? Could you hear them on the samples? They came through pretty well here. They came through better on the studio monitors than they did on my studio headphones, but I could hear them on both. If you get a chance, give me a comment below and enjoy the ride.